This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
And the time right now is 4:27 here on your Monday morning. Want to thank you for joining us on Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. We begin with a shooting that police are investigating. A girl was shot Sunday afternoon in the 8300 block of Meadowlark Drive.
Yeah, we know that's on the east side of town. And right now we don't know who that girl is or a suspect description at this time. We're still working to get that information from police, and we'll let you know as soon as they release it. But obviously, violence continuing here in the Circle City, especially in the summertime when it's warm outside. And so this is a problem that some of our faith leaders here in the community are working to tackle.
Yeah, that's why they'll be holding an event later today called Talk It Out, Don't Shoot It Out. This is taking place at Tarkington Park. Our Aaron Lish is going to have more details about this coming up on Good Morning Indiana. But they just really want people to talk it out instead of resorting to gun violence, yeah, because we so often see that is what the reason is for so many people being injured or even killed. It begins with a simple argument. So
we'll have more details on that event coming up pretty soon. But right now we do want to talk about the weather. We were looking ahead to this week, Todd. It's looking like a pretty good week. Typical summer week.
Yeah. You know, finally, there's not a whole lot to talk about here throughout the day today.
So you can just go home.
Okay. Yeah, I'm out of here and go climb back into bed. You know, today, starting off a little muggy here this morning, but the humidity drops throughout the day today. We have the sunshine from start to finish, and highs will be in the 80s. 72 right now in Indy, 65 in Zionsville. Logansport's at 68 degrees as well. So we'll enjoy the sunshine. The high temperature is 85 degrees. Again, getting more and more comfortable as the day goes on. And really, this entire week is going to be fairly quiet. One small chance for some storms on Wednesday, but other than that, we are in pretty good shape, although there is some heat returning. You'll see that in your 7-day planning forecast.
All right, Todd, thank you. And finally, in case you haven't heard, Shark Tank is coming to town next week, and we are so very excited about it. So this week, we're going to be highlighting Hoosier-owned businesses, Hoosier, entrepreneurial businesses. And today we introduce you to this Brownsburg couple. They have come up with a great idea. They have a mobile coffee catering business, very unique. They travel to different schools, organizations, businesses, events. They do weddings, bar mitzvahs, you name it. So we are going to talk to them about how they came up with this idea and what it has been like having their own business and the pros and cons to that. So you will meet Doyle and Debbie Lowry, who own A Cup Above Catering, and we'll also tell you a little bit more about Shark Tank. We are so excited once again for that. We've got that story in Hiring Hoosiers, plus news, weather, and traffic here to kick off your Monday morning.
This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Temperatures in central Indiana well into the 80s, and many people who rent don't have working air conditioning units. Working for you, we find out what the health department is doing about this and what you should know.
Plus, the search for a couple captured in this picture-perfect moment is over. We'll introduce you to the lucky couple and the man behind the lens. It is 4:30 here on your Monday morning. Thanks for joining us. I'm Meredith Barrick, and welcome back to Lauren.
Thank you, guys.
From maternity leave.
12 weeks off. Feels like I never left.
Yeah.
Kind of. Hopefully you guys deal with me a little bit today, kind of getting back into the swing of things. We're saying
a nice
it's like
early wake-up call.
Yes. Yeah. My first morning up this early in a while. Little guys sleeping through the night pretty well. So.
Good. That's good to hear.
Yes.
And Elena's got an eye on the roadways as people may be making their way back still from the holiday weekend. And Todd, you've got the forecast.
Yeah, and it's a good forecast for us here as we kick off a new work week here after the holiday weekend. As Meredith mentioned, no real weather-related issues as you walk out the door here this morning. 72 degrees. That's the current temperature, so it's maybe a little bit on the warm side for you here this morning. And there's still just a little bit of humidity out there, but that humidity is actually going to drop as the day goes on, and that is going to result in our day becoming more and more comfortable, even though the temperatures will continue to climb. 72 in Bloomington, 67 right now in Lafayette. It's also 67 degrees as you make your way over into the Richmond area. So the skies have cleared out. We'll have to keep an eye on the potential for maybe a little bit of patchy fog coming in spots. It happened yesterday morning, so some areas that did see rainfall yesterday will have the potential of a little bit of patchy fog. Either way, it'll burn off very, very quickly, and then there's that sunshine. 78 degrees by the noon hour on our way up to a high high temperature today in the mid-80s. The time now is 4:31. Time for that first look at traffic on this Monday morning. Here's Elena.
Beautiful day ahead, and you've got a beautiful drive if you're heading out the door right now. Coming in from this northwest side, heading southbound on I-65 from I-865 down to I-70. It'll run you about 17 minutes, so your travel time's moving along just fine right now. Let's take a look at the road conditions. Here's a look at the north split. I-70 traffic flowing along in both directions just fine. Let's take a turn down to the south split this time. I-65 rings true over here. Should be a beautiful morning drive.
Elena, thank you. We start with breaking news out of Beech Grove this morning. That's where fire crews are investigating a fire at the Masonic Lodge on Main Street. That fire started just before 3 o'clock this morning in the building's attic. Firefighters say the fire was contained to the upper portion of the building, but they have not been able to assess the damage. Officials say the humidity played a big part in their ability to fight those flames. Well, that humidity is on the way down, but temperatures forecasted for this week ahead confirm that, hey, we're in the middle of summer.
This morning, the Marion County Health Department is cracking down on landlords making sure they fix broken air conditioning units. The department says if you have an AC unit in your apartment or rental, it must be in working condition. Last week, the health department issued a violation notice for Emerson Place apartments. They were supposed to fix the problem by July 3rd, but tenants say it is still not fixed.
Right now, to leave the screens open, put as many fans as we can get to circulate some air going through. Put ice or cold rags on and try to stay as cool as you can with the situation.
The health department has issued 113 orders for broken air conditioning units since May 3rd. 31 were considered an emergency. Those are typically reserved for when someone is elderly or has a serious medical need for AC.
Metro Police say that a man shot on the city's northwest side back in June has died from those injuries. That shooting happened just before 3 o'clock in the morning on June 20th near West 29th Street and Barnes Avenue. 25-year-old Roderick Shanks was one of 2 people who were shot that morning. Authorities say Shanks was in critical condition for the last several weeks but died on Saturday. 23-year-old Aaron Cooper was pronounced dead the morning of that shooting. At last word, Metro Police were still looking for who shot the pair. If you have any information about that shooting, call Crime Stoppers.
One Indiana city is the latest to require police officers to wear body cameras. The Peru Police Department implemented its body camera policy last week. The policy says officers must wear their body cams at all times and record every interaction they have with residents. Officials say the cameras will decrease resident complaints, use of force incidents, and help the city avoid costly lawsuits. The city's police chief says the department started considering body cameras a few years ago.
It is 4:34. Appeals court says that Purdue University may have discriminated against a student who was accused of sexual assault. Now, the court says that Purdue sided too quickly with a female student and ignored the man's efforts to offer evidence in his defense. The decision gives him a chance to proceed with a lawsuit against Purdue. The man denied those assault allegations. He was suspended from the Navy ROTC program, and he also lost his scholarship.
A Sullivan County man faces charges after admitting he crawled through a doggy door to steal a truck. Garland Tuttle Jr. faces burglary, auto theft, and DUI charges following the weekend incident. This all happened Saturday afternoon in Farmersburg. Police say they got a call a truck was stolen from a locked garage. They later found Tuttle in the truck where he admitted to stealing it. Police also say Tuttle's blood alcohol content was 0.291. An update now on that viral photo of a couple getting engaged while photographers snap photos of the fireworks in Carmel.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you've seen this on your social media feeds by now, and our Nicole Griffin introduces us to that lucky couple and the man behind this magical picture.
I thought I'd just take a shot at coming out here and trying to get the fireworks are always going to provide a good picture.
Tyler Huffman found a spot on the Monon, watching the fireworks and capturing this image on 4th of July.
It's gotten hundreds of shares and comments and likes, and it's made its way around to just about every corner of Facebook probably at this point.
He posted the picture to social media, asking for help finding the couple in the picture. The man was down on one knee, proposing to his girlfriend.
It's lucky that he stopped where he did and picked the spot he did, and I happened to be standing where I was.
We had no idea there was a photographer there.
That couple in the photo is Brad Ryder and Wendy Albrecht. The two started receiving phone calls telling them Tyler was trying to find them and share this beautiful picture.
Started getting text messages and phone calls from friends, and this thing had gone viral, and we had no idea whatsoever.
Had no idea.
The two have been dating since 2011. They actually were already engaged before July 4th, but they haven't set a date. Brad took the opportunity to remind Wendy that night just how much she means to him.
It was such a beautiful evening. The fireworks were going off, and it was a spontaneous moment. I wanted to remind her how much I loved her and how much I still wanted to marry her, and so I dropped to my knee.
It's just in the moment. We were alone. It was beautiful. It was such a beautiful night.
And the beautiful moment is one they will now have memory of forever. Now it's time to set a date.
Maybe we should do it now, July 4th, 2020, right here on the Mona where it all happened.
I think I'll stick with the beach wedding. All right. Well, Brad and Wendy found out they live just a few doors away from Tyler in the same apartment complex. The three had lunch and thanked him for the beautiful photo that they'll now cherish forever. Hey, he got off easy because sometimes you have to hire a photographer.
Yes, such a great story there. All right. Well, two different brands of eye drops are being pulled off store shelves this morning. We'll explain the reason for the recall after the break.
Plus, President Trump is lashing out on what he calls phony reports of unsanitary conditions at the U.S. Border Patrol stations. Straight ahead, why the acting Homeland Security Director is defending those conditions. Todd.
And Lauren, a pretty quiet morning for us here all across the area with the skies being mainly clear. And for a change, no threat of rain in our forecast here throughout the day today. We'll talk all about it and the rest of the week ahead coming up in your Storm Team 6 forecast. Time now is 4:38. You're watching Good Morning Indiana right here on RTV6.
RTV6 is working for you.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana. Time now 4:41. Here's a look at I-465 at Michigan Road up on the north side. Traffic's moving along just fine, looking empty on the road. Stay tuned. I'll have your latest traffic update coming up in the next few minutes.
Elena, thank you. Here's a look at some of the news expected to make headlines today. Coco Gauff, the 15-year-old tennis phenom, will face the tournament's number 7 seed, Simona Halep, later today. Gauff has already defeated Venus Williams in her first-round match and staged a come-from-behind victory in her third-round match on Friday. Gauff is now the youngest woman to qualify for Wimbledon since Jennifer Capriati qualified in 1991 when she was 15.
A civil lawsuit brought by the man who has accused Kevin Spacey of sexual assault has dropped the charges, but the actor still faces criminal charges in connection with that same incident. Spacey is due in Nantucket courtroom today. Both sides of the case are likely to argue over whether the alleged victim must hand over his cell phone, which Spacey's attorney claims has deleted text showing the alleged victim joking about the encounter.
It is 4:42 and President Trump is defending Border Patrol agents and the condition of detention facilities. This morning he's waving off new reports that there have been outbreaks of diseases among children. ABC's Trevor Ault has the latest from Washington.
With both political parties now calling border conditions a crisis, President Trump continuing to defend migrant detention facilities and the Border Patrol agents who run them.
Now, I look at things and I saw visually, I had people there that told me the job that they are doing is incredible.
This, as a joint investigation from the New York Times and the El Paso Times, cites unnamed Border Patrol agents who saw outbreaks of scabies, shingles, and chickenpox spreading among the hundreds of children who were being held in cramped cells. The president dismissing that report.
The New York Times story is a fabrication. Those are people that are very happy with what's going on because, relatively speaking, they're in much better shape right now.
Just days ago, the government releasing photos from inside Texas holding facilities showing dangerous overcrowding. Acting Homeland Security Secretary Kevin McAleenan said reports of inadequate food and water and unclean cells, like what was being reported by the New York Times, are unsubstantiated.
I know what our standards are, and I know they're being followed because we have tremendous levels of oversight.
Democratic Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib said those comments contradict the report from Homeland Security's own Inspector General and what she saw personally.
That tells you they're under a lot of trauma, that they are in a facility that is dehumanizing.
As this unfolds, a new ABC News Washington Post poll shows only 4 in 10 Americans approve of the president's handling of immigration. This Friday, the House Oversight Committee has scheduled a hearing to question administration officials about conditions at the border, and that includes Acting Secretary McAleenan, though it's not clear yet whether those officials are actually going to show up. Trevor Ault, ABC News, Washington.
It's 4:44. The investigation into a deadly accident at a southern Indiana boat race continues this morning. The accident happened during a practice run ahead of the Madison Regatta on Saturday. Officials say 60-year-old Ricky Beatty was thrown from the open cockpit of his vintage hydroplane after hitting a wave. He was pulled from the Ohio River and taken to the local hospital where he was pronounced dead. Beatty has owned the boat since 2017. An autopsy will determine Beatty's cause of death.
Almost a quarter of people in the U.S. don't think they will ever retire. 23% say they'll never be able to stop working in a new poll. Another quarter or so say they won't be able to retire at 65. Money is a major factor. 29% of people over 50 say they feel very or extremely prepared financially for retirement. A third of the same age group said they feel unprepared. Half of people under 50 said they feel unprepared. Well, no matter what, I'm going to retire eventually. This shift that we worked, we deserve a little rest and relaxation after waking up at 2 in the morning after all these years.
I agree. All right, we do want to get over to Todd, though, and get a check of our forecast for today. A pretty nice Monday.
Yeah, you know, it's a decent Monday, and it's a decent week as a whole. Maybe you're starting to make some plans and thinking about the remainder of the week and how you kind of want to plan it out. Well, almost every day is a decent day of weather for us, although the heat will build back in by the end of the week. 72 degrees. That's the current temperature right now. The wind's out of the north, and what that's going to do is that's going to help us humidity-wise throughout the day today. You look at that dew point, and it's at 66 degrees. If you want to compare back to Friday, I was talking with Kevin Gregory. That dew point was up near 75, and that is a very, very tropical-like number for us. But watch what happens throughout the day today. The humidity, it drops, so it becomes more and more comfortable as we work our way throughout the day today. So the most humid part of the day is when you walk out the door here this morning with temperatures that are in the 60s and 70s. 72 officially in India as well as Bloomington. 66 in Richmond. Lafayette currently at 67 degrees as well. And Greencastle is at 68. Storm Team 6 radar completely quiet for you. And the radar, for the most part, with the exception of some isolated storms in the forecast on Wednesday, gets a bit of a break after it's been pretty active with almost a daily chance of some thunderstorms. So the satellite radar picture here is showing mainly clear skies. We expand out, and there's a little bit more in the way of cloud cover off to our west, but all the rain is now off to the east. That will impact maybe some flights in the New York area if you have travel plans there to kick off the work week, but no storms in that direction, so you should be okay. 73 at 9 a.m., 78 by 11 a.m. We climb into the 80s here throughout the noon hour with skies that'll be mostly sunny and then completely sunny. It should be a terrific evening because, one, it's the warmest part of the day with temperatures that'll be in the mid-80s. 2, you had the sunshine. And 3, again, the humidity is even lower this afternoon into the evening hours than it is here this morning. So going forward on TrueCast, nothing really to show you here. Hour by hour, partly cloudy skies, becoming mostly sunny. Those rain showers, they will stay off to our west throughout the day today. So your evening planner, sunset tonight, that is at 9:15, mainly clear skies. Then temperatures falling back down into the 70s. And tomorrow, as we get going throughout the day today, it's more of the same, starting off partly cloudy, staying partly cloudy. Maybe a tick warmer tomorrow. Today, we're probably right around 85 degrees for your high temperature. Tomorrow, we're up to 88, 90 on Wednesday with a spot storm chance. And then once that weak front comes through, the humidity drops again for Thursday and Friday, as well as the temperature. And then the heat is on, it looks like, for the weekend, as we'll be dealing with mostly sunny skies across the area. And temperatures, Elena, that'll be topping off in the low 90s at this point, it looks like, for Saturday and also on Sunday.
All right, thank you, Todd. Here's a look at I-65 at 30th Street. This is over on the west side. You can see it's pretty empty out there on the roadways right now. It's one car making its way. So if you're heading out the door, it should be an easy drive for you. Let's take a look at the map coming in from this southwest side, heading northbound on I-70 from Ronald Reagan Parkway to downtown at I-65. Should take you only about 12 minutes, so you can see everything is flowing along just fine. But let's take a look at this stretch right now on our live in-dot traffic camera. See what brings true over here. You can see everything's moving along. The roads are dry, so your conditions are wonderful for your Monday morning drive.
Elena, thank you. We're working for you with a recall alert this morning. Eye drops and ointments sold at Walmart and Walgreens are being pulled off store shelves. The Food and Drug Administration says that the products may not be sterile. Altair Pharmaceuticals is voluntarily recalling Solutions, eye drops and gel drops. The products are sold under Equate and Walgreen brands. For a complete list of the impacted products, you can check out this story. It's in the RTV6 app.
Indiana native Justin Haley raced his way into the history books with his first NASCAR Cup win at Daytona. The 20-year-old rookie was leading when Lightning halted the Coke Zero Sugar 400 with 33 laps remaining. A soaking rain followed the Lightning delay, forcing NASCAR to call the race, giving Haley the win. Haley becomes the second youngest winner in Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series history. Haley is from Winamac, Indiana. He grew up racing quarter midgets in Kokomo.
I convinced my mom to let me get a quarter midget. At first, she said, as long as you can convince your stepdad to do it, then y'all can have fun. And that wasn't too hard of a convince, being he's a gearhead himself. So without them two, my stepdad and my mom, obviously this wouldn't have been possible, and everyone else in my family for believing in me and giving me faith.
The Coke Zero Sugar 400 was the final July race at Daytona. This race date moves to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway next year.
Still to come, a Lithuanian couple holds a world championship with the unique title. Just after the break, why it's not their first time being crowned world champs.
Plus, violence is impacting a lot of families in the Circle City. All new at 5 o'clock, our Aaron Lish takes a look at how one organization is working to bring peace to our city. But first,
I'm Vinny Politan. We have a huge day coming up here on Court TV in Florida versus Scott Nelson. He's already been convicted in the death of a nanny in Central Florida. We are now in the penalty phase, and the defense must decide whether or not Scott Nelson, a man who's already been convicted by this jury, will get up on the stand and plead for his life. It's the ultimate decision for this jury. What will happen to Scott Nelson? Life in prison or a trip to death row? We are live in Orlando today on Court TV.
Don't forget, you can watch the all-new Court TV live on your mobile device by visiting CourtTV.com. We'll be right back after the break.
Weather than anyone else.
it is always a good idea to lock your car doors, especially if there are bears in the neighborhood. That's a lesson a Colorado car owner had to learn the hard way. On July 4th, a delinquent bear stumbled upon this unlocked car and managed to open the driver's side door. Now, if this story sounds familiar, we told you a similar story last week. Well, once inside, the car door closed, trapping the animal. And here's where things take a turn. Literally, the bear's behind apparently shifted the car into neutral, and the car rolled down a hill about 100 feet, swiping a tree. That caused a door to open, and the four-legged suspect fled. Huh. I'm curious how they know it's a bear. I want to see the footage of that bear in the driver's seat. Yeah, wow.
All right, well, the vehicle in this next story didn't exactly roll away. It was in a full-on police chase involving a fire truck. Authorities in Northern California say that a man stole a fire truck from the Oakland Fire Department and then took it on a joyride. Officers followed that fire truck on the freeway and then into the fast food restaurant. That's where the officers were able to stop the fire truck. Police have not released what charges that suspect is facing.
A Lithuanian couple is waking up this morning with a unique title: World Wife Carrying Champions. The competition is held each year in Finland and draws thousands of visitors. Only 24 couples can compete in the 277-yard obstacle course. This year's winning pair completed the course in 1 minute and 6 seconds. This is actually the second year in a row the couple has brought home the title. Despite the event's name, couples don't have to be married, and organizers say male contestants can borrow a wife if they don't have a companion. Hi, Todd. You want to go to Finland with me next year?
Sounds like a plan.
Let's go. Let's start, working out.
Start training right now.
You're going to need to do some squats.
We can work on that.
Yeah.
We can work on NASCAR and push-ups. So.
Gosh, could you imagine if your neighbors were prepping for that and you like saw them in the backyard? Like,
well, we saw what happens when they wipe out too.
Yeah.
So good. So yikes.
All right. Well, going to be some great weather if you need to prepare for that type of competition.
Yeah, you know, anything outside. Last week we were saying do it in the morning because it gets so hot and so humid. You get a little bit of a break this week, not so much from the temperatures. They're still warm in the mid to upper 80s and even some 90s there, but the humidity is a lot lower here throughout much of the week, and that makes all the difference in the world. So today mostly sunny, 85, 88 tomorrow, but still with low humidity, and then back up to 90 degrees on Wednesday, which is a small chance of an isolated storm. The time now is 4:57. Stay with us. We'll be back here in just a few minutes.